We've been talking scandals in Ottawa, scandals in Quebec. Well, there are plenty of scandals at Glee as well. Well, if you're not a fan of Glee, if you are a fan of Glee, you already know the premise. But for those of you who are not Gleeks, that's what we're called. It goes like this. A group of misfit high school students find a place for themselves in the school Glee Club, where they sing and dance their way to glory, if not popularity. And yes, there are plenty of scandals. The series, which features several musical numbers each show, is back tonight with a few new faces. McGill student Micah Meyer is hoping to be one of them. Good morning.
Hi, Sue. How you doing?
Great. Thank you. We were both smiling when we listened to that Glee theme there. So what character are you hoping to play?
Well, there's the nationwide search right now is rumored to be looking for 3 new characters, and one of those is a boyfriend for the character Kurt.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Kurt. I know who he is, but you tell me.
Well, Kurt, during one of the episodes, Kurt tries to sing the song Defying Gravity from Wicked, which is written for a soprano, and so he tries to sing a high F. And he's a little unsuccessful in his journey and ends up not getting to sing the show for the Glee Club. And so Kurt really likes singing high. And so one of the characters that they're looking for is his boyfriend. And since I'm a countertenor, which is basically a male soprano, I thought, what would be more of a turn-on for Kurt than someone that could sing high Fs in his sleep?
Right. So did you kind of invent this character, or is that someone that they're looking for? Like, did you go to them and say, hey, I can sing high Fs?
Well, my sister actually last January sent me an email and she said, Micah, I just read a report online that they're looking for 3 new characters and this is one of them, and gosh, you'd be perfect. She said, just think of how much Sue Sylvester can make fun of you.
Sue Sylvester, for those of you who don't know, is the really rotten coach of the Cheerios. It's the school's cheerleading squad, and they're in constant competition. So tell me about being a countertenor, because that's, Kurt is already out there. Mm-hmm. The character is gay. He has had some conflict with his father, although that is all resolved. His dad said he was proud of him, I think, in that episode that you're alluding to. So tell me, but none of them are a countertenor. What is that?
Well, it's a voice type you may not have heard of. It's basically a male alto or a male soprano. It's used a lot in classical music, but it's very rare, so that's why most people haven't heard of it. But in pop music, the Bee Gees or Frankie Valli or Michael Jackson or 80s hair bands use the same head voice register that I sing in every day. So,
can you give us a little sample?
Actually, if you'd like, I can sing the audition sample that I sang just last week in Memphis.
I would love that. Okay.
All right. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, who's that yonder dressed in red? God's gonna trouble the water. Well, it looks like the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, wade in the water. Ooh, in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Whoa. That's amazing.
Sorry, it's a little early.
I love it. You're listening to McGill student Micah Meyer, and that is the song that you sang at the Glee auditions. Okay, I am an alto. There's no way I could sing that high.
Okay.
And I do not have perfect pitch. And you mentioned high F. You're going up above high F, no?
The highest note that I sang there was a G.
Okay, so
one step above F.
One step above it. Wow. Okay, so tell me about this audition now. So they had formal auditions for Glee?
Well, the main nationwide search that they're doing is actually on MySpace.
Okay.
And so you can upload a 1-minute video. So basically there's going to be hundreds of thousands of Gleeks uploading these videos online. But part of the process they're doing to speed it up is they did 7 regional auditions throughout the United States. And these were live auditions that anybody could come cattle call American Idol style. come sing for 30 seconds or a minute, and they say yay or nay. So a friend of mine heard that this was happening in Memphis, which is where I just finished my undergraduate degree. And he said, Micah, you have to get down here on April 3rd. What are the chances you can do that? I said, well, that's the week of Easter, so for a singer, we're pretty busy. But I sang a B minor mass that ended at 11 p.m. on the 2nd and went straight home, packed, and went straight to the airport, caught a 5:30 flight, got to Memphis at 10:30, went straight to the audition site, sang, and then went home and took a nap.
Well, this is your shot at stardom.
Exactly.
So were you a Gleek before this?
I was a Gleek, actually. The theme song was done by the Swingle Singers, which is a favorite a cappella group of mine. So when I saw that, I watched the show thinking, okay, we'll see what this music is for. And then the show was amazing, and it's a pop cultural phenom that is changing the way that the Western world looks at singing and choirs, and it's just incredible.
But it is a big difference between going from a B minor mass to singing Wade in the Water to singing, basically, it seems to me most of the songs they do, apart from Defying Gravity, of course, are like 80s cover tunes. They do a lot of 80s cover tunes on Glee.
It's funny. I think the executive producer taps into his favorite music from his days in show choir in high school and from the pop radio of his time, too.
Totally. And so what do you think your chances are?
Saying this humbly, I think my chances are incredible.
Right on, Micah.
Because really, I don't know how many other countertenors, if any, will audition. And Glee's message is really about just being yourself and finding people who might be marginalized or who might not seem normal, and just showing how special they are and how amazing they can fit into these scripts of theirs. So.
Totally.
I feel like if there's anywhere where a pop singing countertenor could fit in the world, it's Glee. Okay,
but you're a pop singing countertenor. Are you also an actor? Because if you do get this part, you're going to have to also act this storyline of being Kurt's boyfriend, which, apart from being controversial, is probably going to require some acting chops. Do you have a high F acting range too?
I do, actually. I spent most of my childhood, I always tell people, if I could have picked my voice, I would have been a musical theater tenor, because I spent most of my childhood doing show choir and a bunch of Broadway musicals. And right after singing, my favorite thing to do is dancing. So, and in opera and classical music, we don't get to dance much when we sing, and so it would be a dream to be able to do this.
Take me with you. I want to do it too. All right, so you mentioned we can upload it on MySpace, but there is a voting thing, right? Can you just tell us, if we are inspired by you, Micah, how do we vote?
There is, yeah. So the competition I'm in right now is completely based off of popular votes. Since I made it to the finals, there's 20 people who are on the MyFox Memphis website, and that's just myfoxmemphis.com. And basically, the winner of that competition gets a guaranteed audition with the executive producers. They call it a golden ticket. And so I think of it as a job interview. If I can get past the paper application and get to the interview, I know I can land the role.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
We'll be thinking about you, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah, and if people want to vote, they can go to myfoxmemphis.com, or also at my website, micahmeyer.com, which is MIKAHMEYER.com. There's a direct link. And if everybody can just go on, it takes about 1 minute to vote 10 times. So if everybody can spend about 5 minutes voting, then there's no way that I can't take this and change my life and do it for Montreal and for all the countertenors out there.
There, you got your golden ticket. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
That's Micah Meyer. He's a student at McGill University. By the way, under well-known countertenor Daniel Taylor, McGill is very fortunate to have him there. As Micah says, it's an unusual voice range. So Micah is in the running to get an audition for the TV show Glee. And again, if you want to vote for him, you can find that link on Daybreak's Facebook page, or you can go directly to Micah's website, MIKAHMEYER.com.